Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. It's October 24th, getting near Halloween. Okay, 2024. 2023. We did not skip a year. Okay, to my guest, Catherine, it's still 2023. Okay, and to all of you out there. It's October 24th, 2023. And welcome to today's show. We're going to talk to Catherine Little. Dr. Little is a professor in the Department of Educational Psychology at UConn, University of Connecticut, in Magnificent Stores, Connecticut. All right. And she's got a specialization in the area of giftedness and creativity and talent development. Okay. And she's also currently the president-elect, of the board of directors of NAGC, the National Association for Gifted Children. And I thank them for helping me get Catherine on the show today. And today we're going to be talking about something called the JAVITS program and how important that is in gifted education. We'll explain all that if you don't know what it is. But there's also specific attention we're going to give, okay, to a newly funded JAVITS grant called Project Focus. So Dr. Little is going to inform us on all this and how it affects individual teachers, individual students, particularly those who are gifted. All right, we're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org. That's the home website for our American Consortium for Equity in Education. So go over there and enjoy all the stuff we do over there. Everything over there is free for you. Our magazine, Equity and Access, Pre-K-12. Just click on the cover and enjoy an online edition. We have our Excellence in Equity Awards, which have just opened up for educators. So if you are an educator, pre-K-12, go over, check it out, nominate yourself, your colleagues, your school, et cetera, in all areas of equity, and you'll see all the categories we have. It's really kind of fun, enjoyable, and we love handing out those awards, which we'll do as the year turns. That'll be just great. So please, we're starting to accept nominations now. And also all the podcasts like this one are all over there. You'll see it under the podcast link. Check it out. We keep working on the site. It's better than ever. Okay, thank you to Maya Appleby over there, our publisher, and we'll go from there. Everything's at ace-ed.org, and without further ado, let me bring on the one, the only, Dr. Catherine Little. Hello, Catherine. It's Larry here.
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. I assume you guys are not quite. I'm up in Maine, and our colors are kind of right at peak now. How you doing down there with fall colors?
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but it's definitely colorful around here, and nice to have blue sky today because we haven't had enough of that lately.
Here. Welcome to New England as winter approaches. We all start to worry, but Halloween's coming, and we've had Halloweens up here. It's 90 degrees, 89 degrees, so it's crazy. Okay, and then all of a sudden it gets cold. What are you going out as for Halloween?
I haven't quite decided yet. I'm looking at. I have a good pirate costume that I might go with this year. We'll see.
I love it. Okay, the New York. Just before we get into all this, the New York Times today had a great article. Today is October 24th. It was about. It's all over the world. People get on paddle boards dressed as witches, and they paddle all over lakes and streams and all that. It's a whole big thing. It was pretty cool. Okay, so check it out, everybody. It was neat. I want you to talk. Actually, I have to go back here because I have to tell you something funny. I was over on the website today at gifted.uconn, UCONN, UConn, like University of Connecticut, .edu, gifted.uconn.edu, and there was a funny word started, which was confortute.
That's right.
Okay, so I figured that must be something that's in the produce department at Whole Foods. So I clicked through, okay, and it wasn't that. And I just went, this is part of the Renzulli Center for the Gifted Kids at part of the education school over at UConn. Tell everybody what a confortute is, and are there seeds in it? Right.
Great. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah,
you're welcome.
We are in our fifth decade here of offering Confortute. It's a summer program for educators, and it's called that because it is a mix of a conference and an institute with a lot of fraternity in the middle.
Oh.
So that's why it's called Confortute, and so it's been running for over 40 years.
Wow. And do people come from all over the country or just Connecticut?
All over the world.
Wow.
We've served many thousands of people from all over the world. We took a couple of years to go entirely virtual following the pandemic, but this past summer we had our first back in-person Confortute, and it's always a great time.
That's great.
Storrs, Connecticut is not a super busy town. There's not a whole lot going on, so we make sure that we keep everybody busy with lots of fun and activities all day and all evening during conferences.
That's pretty cool. I have to say, Storrs, which is the town where UConn is in Connecticut. When I was there, I couldn't find a town. All I found was a university. Which isn't necessarily bad, but I was looking for the town. I couldn't find the town. I only found this. There's no town. Right. It's all university.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Check it out, everybody. And by the way, since we're talking about Confertutes, okay, make sure you peel it before you eat one, a Confertute. And there's a free webinar about it on November 18th. I don't know if you know that, Catherine, but there is.
Of course.
Okay, good.
We've been doing the free webinars a couple of times over the last couple of years. And so those are, and our whole list of webinars from the past couple of years are all still available for free on our website. So people can check those out. We've had a lot of great speakers who have donated their time to, just provide access to information for folks.
Yeah, excellent. That's go again. I'll link it. I don't have the link right now, but I will. gifted.uconn.edu. And congratulations, you're the president-elect of the board of directors of NAGC. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity.
You're like Torquemada. You have unlimited power. What are you going to do with your power?
I'm not sure about that, but
right.
I'll try to make sure I'm keeping track of my great responsibility that comes along with it.
And I'm sure you will do a wonderful job of it. I'm sure. Okay, congratulations. I think congratulations are in order. So congratulations on that one. Okay, it's
Thank
great.
you.
Okay, now I'm going to say this long-winded, and you can focus this any way you want. Project Focus is the way I'm reading it is a new program of the JAVITS grants, the JAVITS program. You're going to have to explain this to me. And I think we better start there. Okay, Catherine, what's the JAVITS grants, the JAVITS program? And then what's Project Focus below that? Like you're doing an outline.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
so,
just start there for everybody. And I want to say, this gifted education, okay, we have to be able to spot gifted kids. I say this every time I work with NAGC. Okay, this is very important, and we have to learn to work with them and understand. And a lot of people just don't think we should put money into that, as you know, Catherine, because, quote, they're gifted, with my air quotes going on here. Okay, but they need help because they are special kids. Okay, and
absolutely.
Yeah, that's. I'll just leave it at that. You go from there. The JAVITS program and the Project Focus.
Okay, great. So thank you for that. And yeah, we believe in, I think as educators, we all believe in the importance of providing services for all kids in schools. And that includes those who, have it a little easier sometimes in schools. But then we also have lots of kids that really have needs for more advanced learning, for more challenging learning opportunities, and aren't necessarily getting those opportunities in school. And so part of the work that we try to do in NAGC at the Renzulli Center and through the JAVITS program is to find and respond to those kids that aren't necessarily standing out as gifted, but we can see that, with opportunities, they can really develop very, very high levels of talents and just have really wonderful, impressive accomplishments and just fulfillment through their educational experiences. And the JAVITS program really is linked to all that. So this is it is the only federal funding that is available specifically for gifted and talented education. And it's not a huge pot in the federal budget. It's a tiny, tiny piece of the federal budget, but it's very important for us in this field. And the JAVITS program, it was authorized in the late 1980s, and the intent of the program is to provide supports for evidence-based research, for demonstration projects, different kinds of innovative strategies through different grant programs that sometimes can be awarded to states and local districts, or sometimes can be awarded to universities and other kinds of organizations to do work with schools to try to meet the needs of gifted and talented students, particularly those students who are traditionally underrepresented in gifted and talented programs. So that includes those students who may come from low-income backgrounds, students who are English learners, students from certain groups who are traditionally underidentified in gifted and talented education. And so that's sort of the idea of the JAVITS program. And what happens with JAVITS is that when they do have the funding available, they tend to make a competitive program available to apply for grant funding to support projects that can be done in schools and other kinds of settings to respond to the needs of gifted and talented learners. So that's really what the program is all about. And Project Focus specifically, our focus in this project is we're really looking at trying to use professional learning to support teachers in their abilities to respond to advanced learners. We're looking at general education classroom teachers here in grades 3 through 5, and we're focusing quite a lot. Yeah, it's a good, it's a level that's important. It's around the time that a lot of gifted programs really kind of get into gear, but kids, even if they're identified for gifted education, they still spend the majority of their school time in general education classrooms. And so those general education classroom teachers really need professional learning to support them in how to respond to these kids who need something more challenging, more advanced.
Absolutely, they do. And on that note, and you're a college professor. How are we? I always ask this question. Okay, how are we doing? And I went to teachers' college many thousands of years ago. Okay, and it's literally and not literally, figuratively. Obviously, I'm making a joke, but we'll just go from there. Okay, but when Civil War was going on. Okay, the Civil War was going on. That was the Greek Civil War. It was a million years. No, so at any rate. Back when I went to school, special ed, all the challenges of special education, gifted, et cetera, even school counseling were barely even mentioned in my teacher training, if they were mentioned at all. All right. And today, and this kind of sums it up, Project Focus, we're trying to get teachers to understand they need to spot these kids and spot these kids early and how to do it. Okay. And then what? That's the next step of that. All right. And how are we doing? And again, you're a college professor, you teach at UConn. Okay. How are we doing in teaching teachers that there are gifted kids and teaching future teachers that there are gifted kids in their classes? How are we doing on that? Is it part and parcel of teacher training?
I would say it's there, but it could be definitely a lot more there. And, I think that is a major concern is how do we do a better job in helping pre-service teachers to understand this population of kids and helping in-service teachers to understand this population of kids. But there's an awful lot for people to learn as they are becoming teachers. And, there is. The demands are extensive and, there's a lot that new teachers really have to learn about responding to that range of needs in the classroom. And, of course, responding to students who have special needs under special education, that's a huge responsibility as well. And so, there is probably there's a lot more legislation. There's more support for students in special education for teachers to be prepared to work with those students. And that's as it should be because the needs there are really indeed great. But we can always do more to try to support the needs of gifted and talented learners too and to help teachers to get ready for them because, I see a lot of students here at UConn who are going to be teachers and they just, they feel like they want more. They don't really know how to respond to these learners. And so they need more supports. Wow. And I'd let them keep yelling and asking for that. That's a good student protest. I like that of the kids. That's good. And you said, by the way, you mentioned, I just want to say this, you mentioned Renzulli Center. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Renzulli Center is UConn's basically gifted program, gifted center. Is that a good way to put it? Yes. We hadn't mentioned that before you used the term. I just wanted to make sure. If you go to gifted.uconn.edu, you'll wind up at the Renzulli Center website, right? That's correct. Yes. Yeah, there you go. I just wanted to make sure that was clear to everybody. You said this allows grants to individual schools in states, etc. Okay, you obviously are extremely familiar with the JAVITS program, and I think you're going to be running this Project Focus, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct? Correct. Okay, congratulations on that too. Okay, so you're going to be running. You're welcome. So you're going to be running that. All right. What's your history with the JAVITS program, and how are you going to use the funding, et cetera, that's coming from all this? This is really cool stuff because you know what you're doing. And by the way, I love what you are. You are a expert at the Department of Educational Psychology,
giftedness. I love this creativity and talent development. I think that's very cool. Creativity being put in there.
Well,
okay. How do you? Yeah. What
thank
do you
you.
do? What's your background with all this and working with JAVITS, etc.? What are your expectations coming out of this thing? Who do you want to get in touch with you? All that sort of stuff for Project Focus.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, yeah,
Go for it.
So I've been lucky enough to be involved with a lot of JAVITS projects over the course of my career. I did my graduate work in gifted education at William & Mary in Virginia with Joyce Van Tassel-Baska, who was the director of the Center for Gifted Education there. And she had secured a number of different JAVITS projects, and so mostly focused on curriculum development work in gifted education. And that's been a really important aspect of the JAVITS program over the 30-plus years of its history, is that a number of projects have emerged that have resulted in curricular materials that are available for teachers to use to support the needs of advanced learners. And those are supporting the needs of advanced learners in gifted programs, but also in regular education classrooms.
Good.
There's a lot of materials out there that have emerged from the JAVITS projects. And I've had the opportunity, when I was there in graduate school, after graduate school, to work on those, and then came here to UConn, where, again, we've had a lot of good fortune with getting access to JAVITS projects. We've had a number of JAVITS projects, JAVITS grants here at UConn. The first one that I directed was started in 2014, and that was Project Spark. And in Project Spark, we were working with kids and teachers at grades K through 2 to provide supports for helping teachers recognize and respond to high potential. And we provided some summer programming for kids, and again, really focusing on kids from underrepresented populations to give them access to some advanced learning in the summer that could then feed into, and they also helped the teachers to then see what worked with those kids in the summer that they could then use during the school year. And we did a subsequent project called Project Lift, and Lift was focused again on working with classroom teachers in grades K through 3, and we focused on how do you draw out critical and creative thinking behaviors, how do you spot evidence of advanced potential in your students, and how do you respond to that once you spot it. And then Project Focus is really building on all of that as well. And in Focus, specifically, we're focusing a lot on questioning and discourse. So we're looking at how do teachers ask questions? How do they encourage kids to ask questions and to engage in discussion in the classroom? And what are the patterns that we can observe of things like, what are the kinds of words in questions or the framing of questions that can yield more evidence of higher level thinking from the kids' responses, that can get more kids to talk? And I have a colleague, Dr. Kylie Anglin, who's a new professor here at UConn. She's in her 3rd year, and she does work in some complicated stuff in text analytics and natural language processing. But basically what that means is that we're going to have tons of transcripts from classroom discussions that we will pump into some computer programs that will tell us things like, these are the kinds of words that yield a lot of discussion. These are the kinds of words that get lots of kids to respond. So we're really hoping to analyze a lot of detail about classroom discussion and to help teachers with how do they continue to enhance and improve their own questioning and discussion practices in the classroom.
That's pretty cool. How are we doing on the number of educators? I mean, I was on the website. I'm on the website for Renzulli, and you have about I saw 10, 12 professors in there, yourself included, and the one who's going to give the webinar, Dr. Davis. I assume she's with you guys. Okay, and is she with you? I made that assumption, Dr. Joy Davis.
She does not work here at UConn. She is in Virginia, but we're very fortunate that we have a lot of connections with educators and scholars from around the country, and we send people notes and say, hey, we're doing these webinars. Would you be willing to do one for us? And everyone has been very, very responsive. So, but I know Dr. Davis from forever ago. She also went to William & Mary, and so we knew each other long ago as graduate students.
Well, she's going to be great. She's presenting the November 18th webinar. Okay, if everybody wants to check it again over at Renzulli Center at UConn. My curiosity is, let me go back and rephrase that question. You have about 10, 12, whatever it is, professors at Renzulli. How are we doing on having enough teachers? And that's a bad question. I could end it right there. But specifically for the gifted these days. Okay, I mean, everybody's talking about a teacher shortage. We know that. Everybody's talking about teacher retention. We know that. Everybody knows that the worst area is special ed, which I will include as the gifted. Okay, you can change that for me if you want. But the point is, you have to be specially trained. They always say special ed is more for the teacher. They have to be specially trained. Okay, so for the whatever type of kid they're working with, how are we doing? I mean, you deal with students who are going to go into these programs. Do we have enough? Just think of Renzulli. There's never enough. I know what you're going to say, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's a great point. Yeah, we can always use more teachers. We can always use, more people who are willing to come in and really devote their energies to supporting kids. And there are a lot of things that make teaching a really, really super hard job right now. And I think that a lot of teachers are facing so many challenges and, trying to support kids, trying to do so much. And it's hard. And in gifted ed specifically, there are lots of states that don't require programming or services for gifted kids.
Right.
And so, then there are states that do, but don't necessarily provide a lot of professional learning opportunity for those teachers. And so, where we see a big part of our mission here at the Renzulli Center is to really do a lot of outreach and provide supports for educators and do everything we can to say, everybody needs to know about and understand this group of kids, because kids who need more challenge in every single classroom. Every classroom has kids who could use a little bit more challenge. And so how do we support that? And so I think the answer to the question is, how are we doing, is, well, we can always do better. That for every teacher that is doing this work is great, and we're so glad to have them. And we're glad to have we work with teachers through all kinds of things, because we do a lot of outreach work and have teachers that come to Confortute and things like that. And then we do have a graduate certificate program and a master's program and a doctoral program here. And then there are students who are, just in our regular teacher education program here at UConn who take our courses in gifted ed because they recognize that this is an area they need a little bit of extra help in. But most states don't require specific teacher training in gifted and talented education. So most people who are coming out of teacher education programs have had maybe an hour, maybe a chapter that has focused on it in the middle of a class on
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. And I was thinking as you were talking, my kids grew up in Exeter, New Hampshire, which is the home of Phillips Exeter Academy. Phillips Exeter Academy has been there since I think the year 4. All right, and it's been there a long 1638, whatever the heck it is. Okay, and it's considered, quote, an elite school. Okay, I believe it's 9 through 12, and everybody knows Phillips Exeter and Phillips Andover, those two schools. Okay, and I'm curious. All right, though people assume those kids. This is an interesting question. I like this question. Okay, are those kids who go to an elite school, forget the wealth involved? Okay, are they considered gifted kids? They are elite, and it is an elite school. And my point, I'm trying to get the point here. The difference, are they actually teaching those kids as though they are gifted? Or are they just teaching them as though they are elite? And my other question regarding this is, we have to teach, it's my opinion, we have to teach teachers to teach with rigor, R-I-G-O-R. Okay, and we need to be rigorous with the kids. And what you just said about learning what questions to ask and how to analyze those answers. Okay, if we are rigorous with the kids, they usually rise to the occasion. And I know I'm blabbering around here, but you get my question. Take a Phillips Exeter. Are those people trained and gifted, or is that what we're talking about? Okay, I never asked that question before, and I hope you know what I'm going for here. And I know there's a difference between private and public. Go ahead, Catherine. Shoot, help me, Dr. Little. Help me. Yeah.
Well, it's a complicated set of questions that you present there.
Well, I'm just rambling. I felt like Donald Trump giving a speech. I'm just rambling here. But my point is, you get it. Yeah, you know the question. Somewhere in there is a question.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when we talk about this whole idea, it's really, I mean, it really gets at the heart of what do we believe that giftedness is, what do we believe that gifted kids need, what do we believe that kids need to grow and learn in school. And, you know, I think that some of the schools like the ones you're talking about have a strong tradition of high-level rigorous curriculum, and they don't always tend necessarily to have specific identification systems the way public schools are more likely to do for kids for gifted services. But whether they are providing additional differentiation for some kids to raise the level or for some kids to provide additional supports, that may be what's happening there as well. And that's really, and I think it's important for us to think about less about who is and who is not, and more about what the kids need and what are the services that we can provide. So if we have kids that are already topping out on any kind of assessment in their grade level curriculum, well, that means they need something more. If they are able already to do everything that the grade level curriculum is asking them to do, then they need something that's more advanced, more rigorous, that's going to give them the chance to grow. Because really, school at any level, in any context, should be about giving kids the chance to grow. And so what we're talking about here is how do we provide teachers with the supports that they can look at the range of kids that they have in their room and say, what are the things that I need to do to help this group of kids grow, to help this group of kids grow, to help this group of kids grow. And you know, some of the ways that we do that, as you said, if we raise the expectations, kids tend to rise to expectations. So raising those expectations for everybody, asking those, you know, complex, depth-oriented questions, giving tasks that ask kids to really wrestle with real problems. This is all important in the curriculum, to just give kids those chances to rise to the occasion and to have the chance to grow.
That was a good answer to my roundabout question. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Okay. You won't get questions from more intelligent people like that in your classes, so don't worry about it. This was a good practice one. That was good. I appreciate it.
You never know what kind of question.
That was a good one.
Every question is a good question, right?
My wife says no, they're not. And I ask her this kind of question, so they are good questions. My other thing is, this is key. You know, teachers are stressed for time. And if they have gifted kids, that requires, you know, and by the way, they all do have gifted kids probably in their class. Mm-hmm. They just might not know it yet. Okay. But if they find a gifted kid, and if it's a school that's under-resourced, understaffed, whatever the case may be, okay, a poorer district, however you want to phrase that, okay, what do they do then? How do they find the time? And let me finish this whole thing to teach those kids. All right, those kids need a differentiated instruction. Now, we're all talking about, and I know you guys are thinking about this, AI, artificial intelligence, generative AI in classrooms. Okay, have you at Renzulli and at NAGC looked at AI in terms of creating materials and answering the questions for educators that give them the time to work with the gifted kids, regardless of if it's a gifted program or not? How does AI fit into all this?
Oh, that's a great question that I'm not sure that I have a good answer to yet.
Thank you. I knew there'd be a great question in here somewhere. I was waiting for that. Thank you for that, Dr. Little. Do I get an A? Can we leave early for Thanksgiving?
Absolutely.
Please. Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, this is obviously an area of really high interest. We've had, you know, my colleague, Dr. Del Sigli, who's the director of our center here, he has a really strong interest in this. He's been doing all this exploration. He runs across the hall all the time. Catherine, tell me about, you know, take a look at this new thing that, you know, AI can do for us. And we luckily at our conference this summer, and I know that in our plans moving ahead at NAGC, we're really looking at inviting speakers who are exploring AI and thinking about what are the ways that we can look at supporting kids by using this and helping students to know how to use it ethically and appropriately to really help their growth. From what I'm hearing, I honestly have not done too much exploration of this yet myself, but it is the kind of thing that people are telling me that you can do some fun lesson plan development with AI, that it can help you to develop, you know, draw on the resources of the internet to provide a more advanced lesson in something, to, maybe find some more advanced resources. So there's a lot out there, but we're still in the very infant stages of this. But I do imagine that over the next 5 years, I bet we'll see a lot more development and as you say, opportunities to think about how can I raise the level of what I'm teaching for this kid or for this group of kids. And hopefully also there will be more resources out there that teachers don't have to do the AIing themselves, but that others can be doing that and providing that and making sure that that's out there and available for them.
Yeah, and it's got to be, and as Madam President of the Board of Directors coming up, you got to really look at this, because one of the great challenges of teaching the gifted is the time and staff it takes, okay, and
Absolutely.
the lack of training for a regular teacher, okay. Mm-hmm. Every teacher would love that. I mean, who would someone to teach a gifted kid, but how do you do it? Okay, and the AI is, besides the fact that the robots are going to take over the earth and kill us all, AI is really a good thing. It's a sea change out there, and it's going to really make a difference if we can keep the dragon inside the egg for a while till we get to understand it. It's great. It's great stuff, Catherine. This is all good stuff. And one last question: how do you want? We're talking to a lot of teachers and a lot of administrators, principals, etc. As we talk about all this, how do you want them to react to what you're doing? Do you want them to get in touch with you? Are you going to present a series of webinars? What's going to be happening?
That's a great question, and thank you for giving me the chance to respond to that. Certainly people can reach out, because we are going to be recruiting teachers and schools into the project, because we do have, and there's the Project Focus has about 4 different phases that we're going to be going through, engaging teachers in professional learning opportunities related to the areas of focus of the project. And so, schools can certainly reach out. We're in conversation with a few school districts already, and we will continue to be reaching out. So anyone is welcome to reach out to me. I think I can, at the link that you've mentioned several times, that our Renzulli Center link, people can certainly reach out to me, and I'm happy to share more about that. And then we will be doing more about it, over time. So we're going to be doing different kinds of workshops and presentations over time, and hopefully also developing some guidebooks and materials and things like that we can share with schools. And, this is federally funded research, and so we're going to be making most of that material will be just available to people through our website over time, because it's part of your taxpayer dollars going to whatever we come up with. And so we want to make sure that people have access to that information.
Yeah, it is. That's a good point. It's part of your dollars. It's there. Use it. Okay, and Catherine's going to help you use it, as is NAGC, the National Association for Gifted Children, of which, when do you take office? When does the great event take place?
Well, we actually we have a structure in which I will be president-elect for 2 years, and then I'll be president for 2 years after that. So it makes for a really nice transition process that I already am working closely with the current president of the board of directors, who's Sheila Gallagher from North Carolina. And so she is the president, and she and I work very closely together.
Good.
And so my main job is to support her right now, and also I'll be chairing the NAGC convention for the next 2 years. Not the one coming up this fall.
Congratulations.
That one is Sheila's, but I am excited to be already deep in planning for our convention next fall in Seattle, Washington.
Woo-woo! Seattle's a great town. Okay, I got to tell you. That's wonderful. And by the way, what happens to the old president? Do they send him to a farm upstate after they're done? What happens? Curious.
They just get to sit back in meetings and look wise.
Okay. Just be careful of that. You never know. Okay, you never know.
And then sometimes we have a breakfast for them at the convention.
There
all the
you go.
past presidents get together and have a good breakfast.
Some of them are over 112 years old, ladies and gentlemen. They've been up there for years. Catherine, this was great, enjoyable, fun, and really informative, I got to tell you. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity, Larry. I've enjoyed chatting with you this morning.
I enjoyed it as well. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful day, and enjoy those beautiful fall colors. They are coming your way down in stores, okay?
Well, thanks. You too. Take care, Larry.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Catherine Little, Dr. Little, okay, of University of Connecticut, Department of Ed Psychology. I've got this linked here. And she's president-elect of the Board of Directors for NAGC. Okay, and she's pretty cool, and this is good stuff, and go over there and check it all out and take advantage of this. It's your tax dollars' work, as we all like to say. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org. I thank you for being here, and everybody have a great day. My name is Larry Jacobs.